First off, a little business. Thank you, Killcliff, for sending me these awesome energy and CBD drinks. They're keeping me going. I can't do podcasts without them. That's my official slogan for them.
There you go.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. I'm here with Lena from Infected Rain. How are you?
Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Awesome. You guys just premiered a video.
Yes, we did. Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. For the song is called Fighter.
Correct.
So are you an MMA fighter? What's up?
I wish I was that badass. No, I am not though. But I used to do Taekwondo growing up as a kid. That was fun. It made me remember all those fun times while filming this music video. But no, I'm not a fighter. I mean, not a professional fighter, I guess.
Not an MMA fighter, but a fighter of life.
Yes, trying to be.
Has that ever, have you ever thought about it? Like, has this kind of inspired you maybe to be like, maybe I'll take some classes? I don't know.
Actually, yes. First time in a long time. First time that crossed my mind was actually in 2019 when I got my life kind of changed a lot, and one of the things that changed was also me getting into fitness a little bit more than before. I always was pretty active when it comes to sports in general. Nothing professional, just for myself, for my mental health and body health, But definitely in the end of 2019, I was thinking to maybe join some classes for boxing or something like that, because it's a full body exercise and cardio to a level that unless you try, you have no idea how many muscles it includes of your body. Some muscles you didn't even think you had. So I definitely thought about that. And who knows, maybe I will eventually, just for myself, nothing professional.
Yeah, it's wild. People don't think about that. But yeah, even when I used to do jujitsu, the bottom of my feet, I never thought there was muscle there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and actually, believe it or not, the two girls that are in our music video are actually jiu-jitsu fighters.
Oh, very nice.
From Moldova, yeah.
Moldova. So you guys are from Moldova.
Correct.
I'm sorry, but I hadn't heard of this country
That's okay.
Until today. So can you tell me a little bit about Moldova?
Yes, Moldova is a very small country in Eastern Europe. We border with Romania and Ukraine. We used to be part of Romania back in the day, long ago. And then we became independent. And then throughout years, we became also part of USSR. That is the main reason why in Moldova people speak two languages. The majority of people, they speak Romanian and Russian, which are two completely different languages. I'm very proud of that I had this opportunity growing up to learn these two languages. I was born there. My bandmates were born, majority of them were born there, but we created the band in that country. As I said, it's a super, super small country, very poor, economically, not doing too great, but it has a lot of amazing people, insane amount of talent for such a small territory. The thing I love the most about Moldova is its insanely fertile and rich soils. And when I say that, I mean the fruits and vegetables that you can get in that country taste like nowhere else. It's insane. It's so good. In fact, we have very good wines for export. And during the USSR times, Moldova was one of the first and biggest country to export fruits and vegetables. So, yeah. Pretty much, cool. I guess that's all I can tell you.
That's cool. Yeah, no, and it's so wonderful to me to hear that too, because my family's from Spain, so they're also known for having good soil and wine and whatnot. So I miss that lifestyle of just living off of the land, because we don't have that here. Everything is processed. Everything is, you're not living there anymore?
No, I moved to United States almost 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yeah, I lived in different countries throughout my life, and right now I'm here.
Okay. So, I mean, the band was started in Moldova, but how does that, like, how does a band even get discovered out there? It's such a, like you said,
Correct.
it's so small and so, you know.
In fact, it took us longer than other bands. It took us way longer than it would take if we were probably in a, bigger country, or maybe economically more established country where the government doesn't really mess up your plans of touring, or actually helps you. There are some countries that even help financially and with opportunities. They help their musicians.
I know Sweden does that. Sweden and Norway, they really help the musicians.
Yeah. They do. Switzerland. There are many countries that really do that. You're right. It took us longer. In fact, we were independent for 10 years. Wow. And then we signed with the label. We did have a lot of offers, don't get me wrong, because we were touring. We did our best to tour and never give up, no matter how hard that was to do independently. And we were discovered here and there by, promoters, booking agents and labels. But it just never felt right with the people at the time and with us mentally at the time. And then we finally did it. And now we are with Napalm Records, and we are about to release our second album with them. That will come out in January.
January 7th, 2022. Yes. Okay, I'm going to have to help me with the name.
Ecdysis.
Ecdysis. What does that mean?
Ecdysis is basically a word used mainly in science and biology and stuff. It means the metamorphosis of the transformation from one life to another, or from like one state to another. For example, when a snake sheds its skin, it's ecdysis, the process itself. When a cocoon becomes a butterfly and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like a newer life in a way, a new stage of life, maybe even better.
Okay. So would you say for the band itself, I mean, I think for all of humanity, we're at that state because we're getting out of this weird pandemic cocoon, and everybody's kind of blossoming. So it makes sense on a global scale. But for the band, do you think this is like an evolution, the next step in your sound?
I wouldn't say it's a next step. It's a newer page for sure, but the page is of the same book. Okay. So if that makes sense, it's nothing like completely drastically new or drastically different, but definitely more fresh, maybe in a way even more emotional, if that's even possible, because we always are. But yeah, for me, it makes a lot of sense, especially, and I put a lot of significance in this because 2019 was a pretty interesting year for me. When I say that, I mean not necessarily positively interesting. And a lot was going on. My life was changing a lot. Things that I wasn't really ready for. Mentally, it was a challenge for sure. And then right when I was literally getting up from my knees, then COVID happened, and it was another slap in my face. So it wasn't very easy for me. But at the same time, I feel like this, this big nap that the whole planet took during this time was also good, not just bad, for everybody, for me including, and that's why I think that Ecdysis is insanely perfect for me, meaning-wise, and for the whole world, really, because we are somehow getting out of this. It's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, 2021 right now, I mean, it's been incredible the amount of music that's come out of it. If you look, if you take a step back, people don't realize, because we're getting hit back to back with new albums from bands that everybody likes and loves, and you forget. There's been so many that I forgot that Gojira put out a new album this year. I already forgot. I thought that was last year.
Even Sepultura did a very awesome album, Quadro, during the pandemic. In fact, I spoke with Derek about it, and it's yeah, a lot of good music came out of during this time.
Now, for this album, were you guys writing through the pandemic? Were these songs that you had in the bank from before the pandemic, or what?
Both,
Both?
both,
Okay.
both really. It was more like so when we were writing Endorphin, which was our fourth album, so the latest one. The initial idea was to have that album coming in two parts, and it was supposed to be part one with 7 songs and part two with 7 songs. So when we changed our mind on it, because we got signed and we wanted to actually give to people an actual album, we had to choose some songs. So some songs were put aside to work on later. So we did have some older songs, but mainly everything on this album is worked on during the pandemic, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. I mean, so do you think lyrically, are there certain themes in the songs that have to do with this?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yes. So especially, oh man, so many actually, so many, like the realm of chaos and everlasting lethargy. Even, yeah, oh, 100%. But not just COVID itself, I want to say. Everything that was happening during the past 2 years, if you want to look at it that way, all the catastrophes and riots and the fires around the globe, not just everything that was happening in America, which was already a lot for such a small amount of time. But in general, in the world, if you think about it, all those fires and all the animals that, got killed during that, and then all the riots and people that got injured during that, and all the injustices. And I'm not into politics or religion or anything like that, but I believe in love and humanity, and I believe in compassion and where is all that? What's happening to the world? What's happening to this planet? So I wrote a lot about that, definitely during for this album. It's not mainly about it. No, it's about so many other things. But yes.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild to think that, like you said, we're all human. We're all here to try and live and help each other grow. But like you said, people forgot. People are forgetting. It's going away. People get greedy.
Oh, so greedy. So greedy.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. But, the best, I think the best medicine for something like that is music. What else are we going to do? It's the most universal thing is music.
I totally agree with you, because also as a musician, really, I listen to so much music. I did even before I was in a band, but like as a musician, for me, living without music is like almost like watching a movie without soundtrack, or like music is our soundtrack. Every genre really. I love and prefer metal for sure, but my playlist is insanely diverse. And also from a different perspective, during this time, I collaborated with so many other musicians. I did so much. I don't think I wrote and recorded as many songs in such a short time before in my life, because we were always on tour. We were always, busy. And in fact, majority of those songs didn't even come out yet. They are about to come out next year, or, like some came out, some didn't even. So,
okay. That's really good. Yeah, it's a good time. It was a good time to take a step back and put some work in. If you had the mental capacity, if you had the mental health, the willness,
Yeah, sometimes I didn't, but I had to force myself, because as soon as I enter my little vocal studio that I built with my own hands, thanks to the support of the fans, and when I just play the music and start working and start thinking about it, it's like I lose track of time, and I forget that something was bothering me before I came in that room, and something was painful for me and or holding me back,
So, to dig a little deeper, I want to know where this fighting spirit comes from, because a lot of musicians during this time gave up. There was just nothing. A lot of people felt helpless, that maybe touring is over forever. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I myself, I remember watching one of those live streams. I think it was Tesseract was doing a live stream. And I remember crying, not because the music was so moving or anything. I mean, it is, but it was mostly because I was like, I'm never going to go to a show again.
Yes.
It kind of hit me at that moment, oh no, it's over. So where does this fighting spirit come from for you? How did you grow up? I mean, were your parents supportive of your endeavors with music, or
It's not really like that. It's I live very far from my family. My family moved to Italy over almost 20 years ago, and I haven't seen them much lately. And whenever I see them, it's for a very short amount of time. It's during the touring. If we have any shows in Italy, then we hang out. But I haven't seen them to actually spend time with them for a while. And but yes, my family is supportive 100%, even if they are not fully in this genre or anything. My mom and my sisters, they are absolutely supportive. The thing is, I was just like you, because during the pandemic, I was fully alone, just me and my dog. And it hits you very hard, because me, just like I know the majority of people, everybody can do great alone. But being alone and being lonely are two different things.
Yes.
And what makes you feel lonely? It's not really the fact that you are alone. It's the fact that you don't know when things are going to go back to the normal. You don't know when you're going to feel alive again like that. And if you're talking about specifically shows, it hit me very hard. I did have online therapy, and it helped me a lot, I will be honest, because as I said, I was already going through something really personal and very strong, and it hit me even harder, not knowing that I will at least be able to pursue my dream, even if my personal life it's falling apart right now, So it was very difficult, but my dog helped me a lot, 100%. In fact, my therapist suggested going to specific classes with her where we would bond even more. In fact, my dog Luna became a service dog. She's a certified service dog, and we had a year and a half of classes with her.
Nice.
So the bond that we have right now is very difficult to describe, really, and it was very different than before. Also, I want to say it's thanks to the fans a lot. The fans stuck around with us for all this time. They helped financially. They helped, with just being present and always making sure we know how much they love us and how much our music means to them. That it was so helpful. Only thanks to people that support me on Patreon, I was able to invest in this vocal studio that I have in my house right now, and actually continue writing songs and continue recording, even though I couldn't meet up with people. And I could collaborate even with people that are in my same city, but I can't see them because it was not okay to really hang out and see each other like that. So that's what kept me going, for sure.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad that you had the capacity to not only have the fans there, but also put everything together, having the Patreon and everything. Because a lot of people just, like I said, gave up, and they were like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, you should. I was actually
I was actually very happy. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was very lucky that I actually did this prior to the pandemic. So having a Patreon page and a YouTube page, which kept me super busy as well, I had that a year prior to the pandemic. So it wasn't something I created during the pandemic. It was already there. It just increased and kept me focused because I had to. It was almost like having a job. I was working from home. That was the only difference.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you jumped the ship first. You were there before it all happened to everybody else. So that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, that helped a lot. I'm very happy I did that eventually, you know.
Yeah. So, I wanted to ask you too, like, how did it start for you to get into metal and screaming and because it's typically, as you know, it's a boys club. But,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, 100%.
yeah.
And you know what's funny? I always was kind of part of a boys' club. I have sisters, and I am the oldest. And I had to take care of them because I was the oldest, and I had to help my mom a lot. So that's the main reason why I wasn't really all that curious and interested in hanging out with other girls' friends. I was more curious into what the boys were doing in the neighborhood. So I was very boyish growing up. I really was. So hanging out in the boys' club was always kind of part of me and something I would prefer. In fact, being in a band with all boys is the easiest thing for me, actually. Well, yeah, I mean, I got into like heavy or something and like actual the metal around the age of 16. Before that, I was listening to alternative music and like Nirvana and all that was cool on MTV at the time, you know.
When MTV still played music. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But then, at the age of 16, it kind of switched for me. I started working as a hairdresser and I had my own income so I could invest in cassettes and new albums.
Nice.
So that's what I
Nice.
did. And I just bought new music without even knowing what I'm buying, really, because I didn't have many friends, metalheads. Later on, I did, but not at that age.
I see.
So yeah, I was just discovering the heavier sound and, bands like Slipknot, Sepultura, Rammstein, and so on. And then, more and more and more. And but that was just for me, like listening to these bands. But being part of a band was an accident, really. It wasn't something planned. It wasn't something I always wanted to do. I never knew how it felt to do that. So I was actually a hair and makeup artist, a pretty successful one too. I loved it with all my heart, and I was planning to continue in that career and maybe eventually have my own place and stuff like that. But music took over for sure. So we had our first show in 2008.
Nice.
And I knew that I want to feel this for as long as I can. So I just rolled my sleeves and worked hard and had vocal lessons with different teachers and learned how to perfect my voice and my breathing and my stamina and everything. And I'm still learning, It's something that you can't, like there's always room for improvement for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And everything in life too. If
Absolutely.
you think you got it all figured out, you don't.
Yeah.
But that's great. And I mean, and you're lucky that, not lucky, I guess, you put the work in, but the fact that you are a hairdresser and makeup artist definitely helps with the band aspect.
Yes.
You don't have to depend on a makeup artist to come and for videos and whatnot. You can just do it yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you have a lot of tattoos
I do.
also. And when did that start for you? When did you decide? Because that's a commitment. Like for me, I have a few here or there, and I've never fully committed to just going all in. So when did you decide that you wanted to go all in?
It was never a decision like that. It was just collecting art here and there. And then eventually it just piles up and you're like, oh, I don't have much room left.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
I was just lucky to, I started modeling around the age of 19 and little by little, I was kind of surrounded by artists and good tattoo artists and in my country and then some from outside Moldova, and it just became part of me. I just loved it. So I have a lot of good dear friends to me that are tattoo artists, and I collect their art, and not just theirs in general, yeah, that's it. It wasn't never like sit down and I'll be like, I decided.
You didn't have a suit all painted out for yourself because some like
No.
the like
For
Yakuza.
now, for now, I'm only thinking to like work on my legs because I really like the way tattooed legs look like, especially on women. And yeah, for now, I'm like slowly but surely going that road.
Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to ask you too. I ask this question whenever I have a female vocalist on or a female artist, because my wife has asked me a few times to ask this question, and I wanted your thoughts and your perspective. Usually, when it comes to metal and rock or anything that's in the popular, realm, things tend to get a little over sexualized when it's a female involved. And I wanted to know your thoughts. Like, how do you feel about this in terms of like the female fronted perspective? Like when people say, I don't like the term female fronted.
Yeah, same. I don't either. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, I will stop you there because I do get this question a lot. And the answer I have for this, I don't see it that way. The way I see it is music is art, just like any other type of art. And artists shouldn't be really seen as whatever gender they are, because art comes from emotion, and emotions are the same for male or female. They are the same. Just like we can cry and laugh, you can cry and laugh. Just like we can feel pain and, I don't know, ecstasy, you can feel pain and ecstasy. What I'm trying to say is, I don't believe this is that specific job or like a career choice in where it really matters all that much what is your gender. It really doesn't, because it's not like, like I get it when it's like something about heavy lifting or something more like a job for a man or a job for a woman, which nowadays, it doesn't exist anymore. Everybody can do it. Like a man can be a Tyler and a woman can be a UFC fighter. You know what I mean? Like, or a man can be this amazing chef and which, normally the woman goes in the kitchen or whatever. Like, I don't see it that way anymore. I see how I understand that, like, for some reason it was more brave. I guess in the past it was like less women were doing it, but the reason behind it is only one. It's the family. So not many women, I guess, in the past were, I guess, supported with the idea of not having a family or not wanting kids or not caring about things that society put in your head. Nowadays, it's easier. Women are like, these are rules that society put there. I don't need to follow these rules. I want to be a rock star. And I know that means I probably won't be able to be a mom, or I probably won't be able to be a good wife. I mean, which is still stupid, because you can still be a good mom. There are so many, very big, famous vocalists that have sons and daughters, and they somehow managed it. It's their choice. It's not something just the society was, I guess, back in the day was more like, oh, what people will think. I have to be, if I commit to family, it's going to be family first always, which it still should be. However, one shouldn't cancel the other. And I believe that it's only lately that people understand that. That's why we have so many more males in maybe the role that we were used to only see women, and vice versa. So that's why but when it comes to art especially, it's just art, it's emotions, it's feelings, it's not gender.
Right. I feel you. I hear you 100%. I mean, I'm all for it. Like I said, I've always thought this way. Like, I cook in my house. There you go. I'm sorry. I'm better than my wife at cooking. I'm sorry.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, but no, we're in a time right now where it's such a delicate subject too, because we have so many angry, people online that are like, oh, there's women everywhere. There's women on the Marvel movies now, and it's like, yeah, good. Like, what are you talking about? So I feel, that it is a contentious topic, but I feel like we have to get through this initial ecdysis. All right.
Correct. Thank you.
Grow past this to, we're going to get through some of these angry guys that are toxic. What is the toxic masculinity that are refusing to accept that things are changing. and hopefully grow into a nice period of time where we can forget about all that. We don't have to have that conversation anymore, you know?
Correct. And maybe this is the era where things are going to change, you know, who knows? I really don't like to dwell on this matter too much, to be honest.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, we can move past that. So in terms of touring, you guys, do you have a tour coming up in Europe, I saw?
Yes, we have a tour that we already announced. Starts in February, and it is a European tour. There are going to be more dates added to that list, but it's already a very long tour.
I see a lot of dates, yeah.
Together with Dagoba, we are going to rock Europe, which we missed a lot. Our last one was in autumn of 2019.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, and you're doing from February all the way to May, almost every day.
Yes.
From the looks of it. And in terms of the U.S., like, do you know if there's a tour in the plans for 2022? Or is that 2023?
It's 2022. We will try our best to come back for sure.
Are there any bands that you have in your head that you like? What's the perfect tour package for you in the U.S.?
It's a difficult question, because I mean, do I just name bands that I would love to tour with, or should I just name bands that I think are a good fit with us? I don't know. I think it's like, I would like to go on tour with anybody, you know.
Okay.
The only thing I care when I go on tour is for people to be down to earth and nice. It doesn't matter how big your band is or how small your band is. We are all human beings, and we are all hard workers. This is not a competition. Who's better, who's the worst. This is just sharing our art and sharing it together. So that's the only thing, because obviously throughout all these years we had different situations.
Sure, yeah.
With bigger or smaller bands, believe it or not. So yeah, that's the only thing we care about. So definitely there are some bands that we admire and we maybe even encountered a couple of times, and we have a general idea of how they are as people. So that definitely, you know, would be nice to be on tour with them or play with them in general. It's like bands like Gojira, Deftones, Lamb of God. They are, you know, they are sweethearts. They look like they are, you know, just doing their thing and loving what they do. And just there's another band that we actually became a little bit closer, Hacktivist from the UK. With a really cool band. If you haven't checked them out, because I love spreading the word about bands that I listen to. I listen to them, and I think they deserve way more than they already have. They are hard workers. They are this genty metal with two guys rapping.
Oh, okay.
Really good. You check them out. Check them out.
I'll definitely check them out.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been jamming from the UK, Sleep Token.
Sleep Token and
really
Sleep Token and Tesseract and Architects and Bring Me the Horizon. All these bands from the UK, they just have something about them. Their sound.
Bring Me the Horizon's from the UK? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they are.
I just saw them. I was just at Knotfest, and they were opening up the fest. No, not opening up the fest. They opened up for Slipknot.
Yeah,
they were the second before. That's great. Yeah, I mean, so those are some good bands to go on tour with, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there was any other project for you that you wanted to do outside of Infected Rain, if you wanted to start a new band or maybe a new just solo project, what do you think genre-wise? What would you go for? Would it still be metal and rock, or would you try something different?
Metal.
Just metal and rock? All right, okay.
Yeah, I do like doing other stuff, and I do it with big pleasure all the time. I love electronic music almost as much as like, but not all the electronic music. Like I like trip hop and like a lot of like this slower electronic music. I like that a lot. And but I wouldn't want to do just that, because there's nothing that compares to the rawness and in your face of the metal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's really, and it's hard to explain to people that don't listen to metal, or rock that vibe, because a lot of my friends that don't, they listen to more just hip hop or dance music. They're like, why are you, what's wrong with you? Why are you so angry? Why is it all the screaming? And I'm like, I'm not angry, actually. The angry music is what lets me release that anger.
Correct.
So that, I can be a normal human being later on.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's a stress reliever. It's that's my therapy. So,
oh yeah, it is for me as well.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about that more and more each day. Just the therapy aspect of it. We were talking earlier. You said you started taking therapy, and I see it more and more happening, which it makes me happy. Like, people are starting to be more accepting about it instead of having this negative, like, I don't need it, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. They think about it for some reason. It's like almost like you're talking to a psychiatrist that will like prescribe you medicine. It's not necessarily like that. There are so many different types of therapists nowadays, people that just are just there to listen, or people that are there to find how to teach you to have certain exercises, mental and physical exercises, without you taking medicine, to maybe fix your problem, if there's anything to fix at all. Because sometimes we convince ourselves that something is wrong, but really all we need is a different view and a different perspective on things. So yeah, I totally understand. The reason I never did it before was only because I was extremely busy with my band, and I had this outlet, this emotional outlet on stage of screaming and getting it out, like it was there. But during the pandemic, it wasn't there. And no matter how much I was recording and putting things together, it's not compared to a show at all. So that's why I was like, oh my God, I need to try this. I need to try, at least it would be something I said I did try, and it helped me a lot. I only had a couple of sessions, really. I didn't even have too many, because everything made sense after that point of view, and the things that I started doing that were suggested to me, just like for the example I brought up before with the dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I got a dog over the pandemic. Well, my wife and I got a dog, and it's been really helpful for us, I think, as well. Just having someone around. I also used to be on stage. I was in a band for 10 years, and ever since we've stopped playing, like, that's when I started noticing, like you said, there's no outlet. That you used to be able to go out there and scream and do stuff, and then there's no outlet. So I think it's super important, especially during these times.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Do you have any hobbies outside of, hairdressing, makeup, and the band? Like, do you have anything that you're into outside of that? Like, books, comic books, video games, any of that stuff?
I don't think you can call them hobbies, really, but I do have a couple of things that please me and make me happy. I read a lot. I read books, not necessarily fiction. I read nonfiction a lot as well. Okay. Sometimes I even read 2 books at the time, like not simultaneously, but I feel like, okay, because everything that is nonfiction, I need time to process. So I read it slower. I come back sometimes. It's almost like I study it. And like sometimes I even make some notes. And then when I want just a different type of food for my brain, just like to include my imagination, then I read stories or anything that is that is fiction, actually. So I have a big love for movies. I'm a sucker for movies. For me, movies are just as important as music. They can make you think about many things. They can show you some things about life that you never encounter in your everyday life. Movies are beautiful. Movies can be very emotional, and I love watching movies, different genres too. I love nature. Nature is something that actually can recharge me, and I try to go hiking at least once or twice a week. Okay. I should go even more often, really, but because the nature here is very pretty, and the weather right now is amazing. It's doable. But anything else besides that, just music, composing, writing. I do have, my YouTube channel that actually became some sort of a diary And I always had this idea of eventually maybe writing a book, or maybe multiple books with some stories about my past. I'm not sure I'm such a good writer, though. I mean, writing lyrics is one thing, and writing story is a different thing. So I wanted to maybe even collaborate with somebody that I could tell the story, and they will write their own vision of that story. So maybe that will happen eventually, but because there are some interesting things that happened in the past that I think people would be curious to know.
Oh, absolutely. I think so. I mean, I would read that.
Yeah, okay.
Going back to movies real quick. I mean, have you considered acting? Have you wanted to do that?
Actually, yes, I like that. It fascinates me. In fact, I notice that in movies a lot. I notice the skills of acting, and how sometimes the shots are just, the frames are so long, and how insanely good the actors are. It's something that fascinates me for sure. I've been acting a lot in my own music videos, and everybody always tells me that I do a great job. Like people that work on the music videos, the cameraman and the directors of the music videos, they always very, very supportive, and they're like, you nailed it. Like, it's insane. They don't even have to tell me what to do, basically, to deliver. Maybe it is because I write my own lyrics and I know exactly what I want to deliver. Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, it's an interesting topic, actually. Maybe eventually I will try it.
Yeah, I think you should. I mean, like you said, you've already got some kind of experience with the music videos. You know, my biggest concern with acting, like I was always very interested in it too. And, you know, I actually did some extra work on some movies that, you know, they just stand in the background, don't do anything, just, you know. But my biggest fear is mental health for that, you know, just pretending to be someone else. Like you can get lost in that pretty easily.
And I've heard a lot of stories about this specific thing that you just mentioned, stories from like very big and professional actors, you know, it can break you. But again, movies like that, movies that are so intense and so heavy emotionally, they do take care of their actors, and they do provide people to talk to and take care of you. They give you time if you need sometimes, although they do have deadlines like everybody. But I mean, obviously, if you're a bigger star, a bigger actor, you get that privilege of, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you can recommend new movies, just new. Don't worry about old ones because that's too long. That's too long of a list. But any new movies, just give me like 3 movies that you recommend.
It's very easy. I will definitely recommend Dune. Oh my God. I watched it 3 times already.
Wow.
So good. So good. Can't wait for the second part. I would definitely recommend the new, it's actually a show, The Midnight Mass.
Oh, I heard about it. Yes.
It's very good. It's the acting. It's one of those movies that have very long acting, like very long frames and
long shots, like one
long
shot.
shots. Sometimes you can see the camera move, but there's no cutting. It's insane. It's so good. What else? I'll stop there, actually.
Okay.
Just these 2 for now, out of the new ones. Yeah, I didn't watch too much new stuff lately.
Yeah, I haven't seen Dune yet, only because I haven't been able to go to the theater. I want to watch it in IMAX. I don't want to watch it on my TV and HBO Max.
And I totally support that. So that's what I did. I've seen it for the first time. I've watched it in the movie theater, and then I watched it on HBO Max twice after that.
Nice. Well, hey, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming onto the show. Everybody that's watching and listening, make sure to go and check out the new album, January 7th.
Yes.
Ecdysis. I said it right.
Yes.
Yeah. But check out the new video for Fighter. It's awesome. I watched it right before we started talking. Really well done. Really high production, too. I mean, you guys... You killed it. And I mean, you've been killing it. All your videos are great. The passerby video is awesome. So everybody that hasn't heard Infected Rain, check them out and support.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, on your personal, if you want people to follow your personal Instagram, it's
Lena Scissorhands for my Instagram. You can also find my YouTube channel called Bananas if you want to know me closer or the band closer. We have, Facebook, Patreon, and all of the good stuff.
all of the things. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Cheers.